Hey everyone, I am back with another process in my Felicity Jane Note to Self binder. This is the binder that I'm using for my 2020 scrapbook, and here I am doing a pocket page spread. And so the pocket configuration that I have here is that one side has 8 2x2 pockets, and then the other side has 2 3x4 pockets and 4 2x2 pockets. And I'm working with the back sides of pockets that I've already done, and so it's kind of tricky. You'll see me kind of flip back and forth between layouts that I have already done and the one that I'm working on now. But I am doing this spread all about my art journals, and so if you remember me saying, I probably mentioned it either on Instagram or in a previous video, but I've been struggling with journaling this year, and I like to art journal, like to journal, and I haven't picked up my journals in ages. And so I think last month I actually really got into my journals again, and I did some art journal spreads, and I was very proud of myself that I kind of dipped back into art journaling. So I wanted to document that here, and so what I've done is, since I have all of these 2x2 pockets that I have to fill up, I decided to print out my journal spread photos in little 2x2 squares and just kind of tile them across the two spreads. And so since I have I have 4 rows of 3 2x2 pockets, and so I've decided to do a mixture of pattern papers from the Felicity Jane kit with the alternating photos. So I'll have one pattern paper and then one photo, then a pattern paper, then a photo, then a pattern paper, then a photo, and so on. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of cutting down different papers from the kits into 2x2 squares and tucking them into the pockets along with the 2x2 photos. And so I'm using a mixture here of kits, mostly the Gabby kit, because that is the current kit that I had when working with this, but I'm also mixing in a bit of Catherine, the papers from Catherine, and I think a few pieces from Tori. So I'm using Gabby, Catherine, and Tori here. And so most of my papers that I choose from are Gabby and I believe Catherine. Tori, I'm using some of the embellishments for. And so you'll see me here kind of filling back and forth, gluing photos down, cutting paper into squares to fill into my pockets and stuff like that. And I do that for a bit before I decide to start embellishing. And so for the pockets that I just filled in with 2x2 squares of pattern paper, some of them I embellish and some of them I don't. And so the ones that I don't really embellish are the ones that are the floral pattern paper, only because those papers are really busy, and so I just like to keep them as is in the pockets. The ones that are really simple, like the dots and the grids, those I try to embellish with either some of the chipboard bits from the Gabby kit, or the ephemera pieces and puffy stickers and stuff like that from the other kits. So you see that I kind of place certain things about, but now I'm working on my title card. So I'm using the bottom 3x4 card as my title card, and there I just have the chipboard piece that's of a journal, which I thought was perfect. That's in the Gabby kit, and so I'm gonna put that there, but then I also wanted to put my title above. And so I first write out Art Journal Love, because this is my art journal, but it's also a junk journal, and so I was trying to figure out what I can put there next to the art that can kind of fill that space. I eventually go back to the alphas and just spell out junk, so it's Art Junk Journal Love. And you'll see here that I was just trying to see how I can fill up that space. I flipped the journal card upside down, but then I figured, you know what, let me just write junk and it'll fill up the space really well. And so for the title, I used a mixture of the Gabby little mini alphas along with the Tori puffy alphas to spell out love. And I'm just adding some chipboard, the heart, and then of course that journal page there. I wanted to use Lovely Tori on the top, but I decided to use that particular journal card to add my journaling. And so here you'll see I am using, again, different pieces of the ephemera pack, different pieces of the chipboard, to embellish those squares that are kind of bare. And so I put these double hearts, like I layered them on top of each other, and I'm just sticking them right there, right on top of the pocket, because I used a chipboard piece, and I like to put the chipboard on top of the pocket and not inside the pocket because it tends to warp the inside of the pocket. So here I'm just, I have that empty square there. I don't know exactly what pattern paper or what to put there. And so I'm just, again, fiddling around with all sorts of things just to see what works. So for my title card, I did end up gluing down that floral die cut from the Gabby kit onto the card so that it kind of pokes out from behind the journal chipboard piece there. And my title card is basically finished. I don't do anything else on it. And here I'm just kind of trying to figure out what pattern paper would work for that square. I did end up using a paper from the Tori kit. I'm almost positive. Yes, it's that kind of like it's a stripe, but in a chevron-y type pattern paper. And I was trying to do it so that it's centered, but it's not really that centered. It's kind of a little off-centered. And to embellish on top of there, I end up using a stamp from the Bailey kit. So this is a really old kit. And it said something like, "I love this," or something like that, and like an arrow pointing down. And all I do is take some black StazOn ink and I just stamp it out onto some white cardstock and just fussy cut it out and just put it right on top of the page there. And I think I embellish with a heart. And it's just a little sentiment. I struggle a lot with trying to figure out what to put into square pockets, especially when I have so many of them. I like to just kind of decorate them with just random ephemera bits and stuff like that if I don't have photos. So you see here, it's like a little banner, and so I just kind of take one of the heart pieces from the die cuts. I'm not sure which die cut I'm using. The two kits that I'm using for die cuts are Tori and Gabby, so this is just a mixture, but I took a heart piece and then I just glued it onto the card there and just tucked that into my pocket. And so now I'm working on my journaling card here, and I took some of the grid paper, that's just the grid paper from the Note to Self line from Felicity Jane, and I cut it down to size and I ruffled up the edges because I love that textural look, and I put it right on top of the card so that you'd see a little bit of that that beautiful floral paper, that pattern there. And I glue it there, and I'm going to do my journaling there. Before that, I add in a die cut piece from, I believe, Tori, a floral, and then another heart. I believe that's a chipboard piece on top of there. And so now I'm just doing my journaling, just simple journaling. And I think after the journaling, I just kind of glue the cards to the other cards from the other spread, and I believe my spread is complete. This was a very simple spread here because a lot of it was just tucking in 2x2 photos and cardstock that's been like pattern paper that's been cut down to 2x2. But yeah, that is my spread here. I'm just adhering things down together so they don't move in the pockets. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this pocket page spread process. Again, I'll leave all the links down below to Felicity Jane and the products. Be sure to check out the blog so you can see everything and how this spread came together. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!